Hi everyone. With the launch of DeepSeek, a new era of open source model have really come into the spotlight, isn't it? Now, I have already covered about a multimodal model before, which is called Ultravox, and that was really revolutionary and really a good replacement of OpenAI's real-time API, and as we have tested before. In this video, however, we are going to quickly self-host the Ultravox model and see how that's going to perform in our self-hosted environment. Of course, this is going to be a GPU-based self-hosting because it's a multimodal model. So let's go ahead to the screen and see how we can self-host Ultravox for our own use cases. Shall we? Welcome to my screen. As you can see in this channel, we cover a lot of topics related to AI and other tech. And as I was saying about Ultravox, as I was saying about Ultravox previous video, this was the video where I have used Ultravox and used in a proper business use case. Speaking of business use case, in this channel, I cover different AI and other tech in relations to specific business use cases. And I also create the code and share the code for absolutely free. What you can of course do is you can check out all these videos, and to get all the resources and the free content, codes, PDFs and everything, you can go to our one-pager website, which is Kno2gether.com, and you can actually see all of the project that we have created so far. You will find the code wherever there is a code and wherever there is a documents, and you can also get access to our free community from this one pager. So make sure to check the link. Even for this tutorial, whatever code that I'm going to produce or whatever steps that I'm going to produce, we all will be available through this one pager link. So go towards the end and you will find paste replaced with this video content, and just you can get the free guide or the code basically. I really wanted to show you as first because a lot of you actually are not able to find out where to get the code or where to get the PDFs. So this is what I was actually working since the start of the year to collate all of the content that I have created so far into one place. So you find things easier and better way. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel because as you can see, there is a lot of learning content and lot of codes and resources that I produce in this channel regularly. So you definitely don't want to miss out. And if you do not subscribe or click the bell icon, this is a vast sea of YouTube. You might not see me again. That could be one more reason which probably can intrigue you to subscribe to the channel. Enough of that. Let's go to the core tutorial and see how we can self-host Ultravox. What I have done really to make it easier is I have created three files. As you can see, I have created an app for you, which is doing everything on the behind, but don't worry, I'm going to walk through the code quickly, what it is doing. And then I have also given you the steps that you need to execute one by one so that you can test the Ultravox model in a self-hosted environment. One of the first thing that we need to do is to buy a GPU server. Rather, I would say rent a GPU server for this tutorial, or if you want to run it for long term. Now, there are different providers out there, of course, but as running this kind of model takes a lot of memory, a lot of RAM, I have been looking forward some partnership on that one, and Must Compute have been really helpful in sponsoring this particular GPU for running this particular tutorial for you. I will also attach an affiliate link for Must Compute if you really want to take GPU or rent GPU for your testing or your running applications, and of course without any extra cost to you. It can help the channel if you use the link. On top of that, I'll also attach a 50% off voucher code which you can use on certain GPUs. And also they are currently running another offer, which is winter CPU code that you can get out of the box that you can use on any of the GPU rented server. Please make sure you check that out. So we'll just go click deploy and we will select GPU, and then you will see bunch of options here. For this particular demo, you can use any of the GPU really. For this particular demo, what I'm going to use is A100 because that's really a good GPU to test. And it is like, as you can see, we are getting 150 GB of RAM and 160 GB of VRAM. We do not need that much. Maybe what we can do is reduce the GPU quantity to 1. And you can see the price is already $1.55 per hour, which is pretty cheap, I would say. We'll select the base, and here we will select Ubuntu desktop. I'm going to use one of my SSH key. You don't need to, you can use the password to log in as well. And we are going to hit deploy, and it will take roughly around 5 to 10 minutes for a instance to become available. So once it becomes available, I will come back and then I'm going to proceed with the next steps of self-hosting this Ultravox. So let me click deploy and let me actually come back once the deployment is completed. So at the moment it is on initializing state. Once the deployment is done, it will be on running stage. So I'll come back once this is ready. Okay, because we are going to self-host Ultravox, I have came into the Ultravox GitHub page and just to see what all models that are available, and we can see from there that they have released Ultravox 0.41 and 0.3, and then when we go into the release details, I can see that they have published their weights into this link, which I have just copied and I have opened it from here. And as you can see here in the Hugging Face, there are a bunch of open weights or bunch of models that were already uploaded that you can download and you can run it. Now, one of the latest model that I can see, which was updated almost 7 days back, is this one, which seems like trained on top of Llama 3.3, which is really nice. But then the problem is, as I was testing, I could not download this model. I think because it's a Llama 3.3 base variant, we need to do some meta agreement signing and all this stuff, which is of course free, but it will take time. So that's why what I'm going to do is I'm going to use version point underscore 4, and this is interestingly the most downloaded models as well. As you can see, there are almost 65.6 thousand download of this model. So this seems to be popular and this seems to be working as well. So I'm going to use this one. I'm going to show you how we can actually run it or self-host it basically. So that's cool. What we will do is just quickly open up the code. I'm just going to quickly show you the code quickly. So first thing first, we always start with main file. So we have our main method, which is calling the main method here, which will further calling the Ultravox interface. We will talk about Ultravox interface in a bit. And after it loads the Ultravox interface as app, what we are doing is we are just calling app.createInterface, which is essentially just creating the Gradio UI. We have used the Gradio library for the UI for this particular application so that you can quickly use it, not depending on any kind of style or any kind of terminals, which a lot of the beginner user actually sometimes faces issues to run stuff. And this is of course going to run a server on 7860 port. So that means we'll be able to use our browser and access the Gradio app using UI. We'll be able to test it. Now let's go to the Ultravox interface. So in the Ultravox interface, we have the init method, which is the starting method really. And in the init method, we are using the transformers pipeline, which is a library, which is what you will also see when you open any of the model card. That's what you will see here, that it's using the transformer model. You need PEFT and Librosa as well. That's what we are also putting here. As you can see, the Librosa, and we in the requirement, you will also see PEFT. And this is what exactly it's doing here, right? Nothing else, nothing fancy that I have created myself. I've just referred to this model guide and created a Gradio app for you. A few things that you are really need to ensure that you are doing it right, and I'm going to talk about this. We are trusting the remote code executions, and of course, and once this is all loaded, we are saying model loaded successfully, and here we are adding a default prompt that we will use to actually communicate with this model. Then we are defining a process audio functions. This function is basically using the Librosa and just pre-processing the audio that we will provide as a speech input. I have taken the 16,000 from here. This is the sampling rate. So this is 16,000, but if you use the Ultravox cloud hosted model, that is much better fine-tuned. That works with 48,000 sampling rate, but this is the self-hosted model, so that's why this is only supporting 16,000 sampling rate, but that's fine. That should be okay for our testing. Then we are basically creating our tons, which is our system server, which is our system prompt. We are adding it here as a role as system, and the content is the default prompt if there is no prompt that is given. So if there is a custom prompt, we'll use that. If not, otherwise we'll use the default prompt that we have initiated as part of the init method. After that, we are basically preparing for the model response, where we will specify the audio input that we will provide to the model with the system prompt and the sampling rate, and maximum new token is 30. And that's it really. Here we are just checking if the response that has been returned from the model is, if it is a string, we just return the result. If it is a list, it just trace the result as a result 0 and something like that. You don't have to do that. You can literally just return back the result, but I have just been a bit careful because I have been testing different use cases with this app. That is why I have added this if and else statements here. And that's it really. The create interface is just, we are initiating a Gradio block. We are just creating a Gradio interface. And in the interface, we have an audio input here, as you can see, geo.audio. There we are labeling it as speak here. We are using a microphone as a source. And of course, we are creating under the hood a file path of whatever audio that we are going to feed into it in this app. And then when you are going to hit process audio, we are just going to actually submit the form which contains the audio input or the path to the audio file that will be sent over to this particular application, and the application will actually process using the functions that I have just shown you. Again, nothing fancy, nothing really complex that is happening here. It's very self-explanatory, and I've added comments on each of the sections. So when you check out the code using the link in the description for absolutely free, you will be able to actually run through the code and understand how everything is working. And I've also added some kind of markdown as well for you to understand. Now, one of the things that you should note here is you can actually run this entire thing with a 24 gigabyte of VRAM as well. I did test it, but it worked, but it was a bit slow. That is why I opted for 80 GB as part of this particular demo. That's it. It was roughly around 138 lines of code. But let's now quickly just copy this and let's go into our server. I think we already created it, so that's great. Let's just quickly run it. UV app, let me grab here. So when you run for the first time, it will actually load all the checkpoint, download all the models and everything. But for me, because I have already downloaded it, it's just completely loaded it quickly. But for you, it will take roughly around 10 to 15 minutes, depending on the internet and everything. Of course, if you're running on mast compute using the link, it will be much faster because that's of course a server. They have better internet connection. But if you're running in your local system and you have a beefy computer, you can actually run it. And as I said, you will be able to run it with 24 gigabytes of VRAM if you have one, and that should work, but depending on your internet connection, it will take some time to load the models. Now we have the Gradio link. I will use this one because I will be able to just run it from my local system. Now I will come here, just let's minimize this one and let's load our app. And there you go. Very simple app, very effective app that you can use for testing. It's asking for microphone access, which we have given it. So we can literally just start, hit the record button and just give our voice input and test the model. So let's actually test it. You can also change the system prompt, as I said, but that's fine. Let's keep as it is and test it. Hey, can you hear me? And let's just hit process audio. It says, I can hear you fine. I'm here to help with any questions or topics that you have. How's your day going so far? One of the things that you might question is, why is it not generating an voice output? Now, the interesting thing is, if you have used Ultravox and if you have seen my previous video on Ultravox, it was generating the voice output. But if you go to the Ultravox page, they literally says that the open source model that they release is not speech to speech, that is speech to text. They for their self-hosted model, they have further fine-tuned it with different TTS model that is available in the open source community, and that is why it is able to create an end-to-end like speech-to-speech output. But the open weight that you will find here in the Hugging Face, that's all speech to text. That's not speech to speech, by the way. So that is why you are seeing speech to text output. So if you go to the Fixie AI page, actually you will see somewhere. You see here audio text to text. So all of the model that is there as an open source is only audio to text to text. It's not audio to audio. But that's what I'm working on right now. If you see in my code base, as I was testing for some time, is I am kind of mapping Ultravox with Kokoro, which will be our next video. So again, another reason why you should subscribe to the channel, because the next video is going to be even further awesome. I have found some success, to be fair, but I have still some more tests to do. And as part of this, I am kind of merging Ultravox with Kokoro TTS and just trying to see if we are able to create something very similar to what Ultravox is providing with their clouds setup, where you can connect to their API and you should be able to use it with any applications. So in my previous video where I have done the Ultravox demo, I will use the exact demo client, but with the self-hosted stuff. And I'll try and create another video. Hopefully that will come very soon as soon as I conclude my testing. Anyway, Let's do some more testing here. Let's just ask, hey, what is the capital of France? Let's just process the audio. And as you can see, the response is pretty fast. It didn't even take a second, right? And it says Paris. Let's test another one. What is the largest mammal in Earth? And it says it's blue whale, which is also a right answer. But as you can see, it's very, very fast, which is what I really like. And I think it's really good candidate for creating a speech-to-speech model. Let's maybe ask one last question. What is an official language of India? So Hindi is an official language. That's great. This is really, really awesome. I think that means this model is fine-tuned on Llama 3, so it has some kind of knowledge as well, as you can see. And this is really a perfect candidate for our testing, turning it into a speech-to-speech model. That's really it for this particular video. I really don't want to drag it too much. Again, if you can, use the link from the description below and use the must compute. So for the testing, if you want, that will immensely help the channel, because that's an affiliate link and that will actually get us some commissions while not getting you any extra cost. And I will also keep the discount code in the link so that you get 50% off with some selected GPU. I think that is only available on A6000 GPUs. You should be able to get some A6000 GPU available, but that is 24 GB GPU, which again would be okay for you to do the testing. Now I'm going to end this video right now, and I really hope that you have learned something. And if yes, give it a thumbs up and take care, and I'll see you on to the next one.